In the shadowed corners of the internet, where anonymity was currency and freedom a dangerous ideal, a digital empire rose, built on code, ambition, and an audacious vision. This isn't just a story about drugs and crypto. It's about the FBI's relentless digital manhunt for a ghost. A legend. A man who dared to challenge the very fabric of state control. Welcome to the dark web. Welcome to Silk Road. Our story begins with Ross Ulbricht, a young, idealistic Texan with a fervent belief in libertarian principles and an unwavering conviction that individuals should be free to make their own choices, unburdened by government interference. From this philosophy, an idea was born. An online marketplace where anything could be bought or sold, anonymously, securely, and without oversight. He called it Silk Road, an homage to the ancient trade routes that once connected continents, now reimagined for the digital age. It quickly became the internet's largest black market, a sprawling bazaar hidden beneath layers of encryption, accessible only through the dark recesses of the Tor network. It was a digital Wild West, and Ross Ulbricht, under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, was its enigmatic sheriff. At the heart of Silk Road's unprecedented success was a nascent technology that promised to be the perfect, anonymous money, Bitcoin. In the early 2010s, Bitcoin was an obscure digital curiosity, a fringe experiment in decentralized finance. But for Ulbricht, it was the missing piece of the puzzle: its pseudonymous nature, its global reach, and its ability to bypass traditional banking systems made it the ideal currency for a marketplace that thrived on discretion. Buyers and sellers could transact without revealing their true identities, their digital fingerprints masked by complex algorithms and an ever-growing ledger. It was a libertarian dream realized, a financial revolution brewing in the shadows, fueled by the very transactions that governments deemed illegal. Bitcoin wasn't just a payment method. It was the lifeblood of this new, illicit economy, enabling billions in transactions and cementing Silk Road's status as a digital behemoth. But even in the deepest shadows of the dark web, the long arm of the law was reaching. A 2-year FBI investigation, a relentless digital manhunt, began to unravel the carefully constructed anonymity of Silk Road. For years, Dread Pirate Roberts was an uncatchable phantom, a mythological figure in the cyber underworld. Federal agents, initially baffled by the layers of encryption and the ephemeral nature of their target, began to painstakingly piece together digital breadcrumbs. They pored over forums, analyzed transaction logs, and followed every subtle mistake, every fleeting slip-up. The challenge wasn't just catching a criminal, it was understanding an entirely new paradigm of crime, one that operated beyond physical borders and traditional surveillance methods. They started with nothing but an anonymous market, and slowly, methodically, they began to close in, transforming an anonymous digital signature into the first faint trace of a wallet address, then an IP, then a real person. The culmination of this technological chess match came on October 1st, 2013. The ghost, the Dread Pirate Roberts, was finally cornered. Ross Ulbricht was arrested at the San Francisco Public Library, reportedly while logged into Silk Road's administrative interface. The image of this digital overlord, apprehended in such a mundane public setting, was startling, a stark contrast to the shadowy, sophisticated world he had built. He was caught, not in a blaze of glory, but with the quiet click of handcuffs, his digital empire collapsing around him. The man who had sought to liberate the world through code was now facing life in prison. His grand experiment in cyber freedom brought to a sudden, decisive end. Ross Ulbricht's capture ignited a fierce debate that continues to reverberate across courtrooms, cryptographer forums, and dinner tables. Was he a dangerous criminal? A drug kingpin facilitating illicit transactions and enabling addiction, as the prosecution vehemently argued? Or was he a pioneer, a modern-day revolutionary, advocating for cyber freedom and the right to privacy, daring to challenge an oppressive state and its surveillance apparatus? His supporters saw him as a victim of government overreach, a man unjustly punished for creating a platform much like an internet service provider. His detractors viewed him as a moral bankrupt, responsible for the proliferation of harmful substances and the creation of a haven for illegal activity. This moral question isn't just about Ross Ulbricht. It's about the very nature of decentralized power, the limits of individual liberty in the digital age, and the ever-present tension between security and freedom. His story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about market dynamics, the efficacy of prohibition, and the potential for technology to both liberate and destroy. His case remains a chilling lesson in the high stakes of ambition, the harsh realities of legal consequence, and the enduring complexity of defining justice in a world increasingly shaped by code.